Hi, my name is Keith Cooper of Northlight Images, and in this video I'm looking at the Epson P5300. That's the Epson P5370 in the US, 5360 I think in Australia and New Zealand, but they're all the same printer effectively. They have different regional variations in it. It is effectively an Epson P900, 700 ink system and print head in the chassis of the Epson P5000. Now, I've used the P5000 for several years, which means I know how this works. And I'm finding in testing that this really works just like the P5000, which is good because P5000 has excellent roll paper handling and a sheet as a tray underneath here, a cassette that takes it. But I'm looking at borderless printing in this particular video. Now, borderless printing is a great way of messing up the insides of a printer. And I remember when the P5000 was first launched, I talked to some Epson technical people at their HQ in the UK. And quite a lot of aspects of the design of this printer, and that's the chassis, so the mechanics of it, were aimed at reducing ink build-up, paper dust build-up, and other things that affected reliability of printers. The chassis of this was designed for heavy-duty use, printing every day, all day long. It's a commercial printer. One of the problems with the P5000 was that you needed to use it at least every week because it really did not like being left, whereas the P900, P700 print head should be much better for that. We shall see, but effectively think of this as a much bigger, heftier P900 that has proper roll paper. Now, I said borderless. Here we have a picture that I've printed, in fact 2 pictures, and they're both the same, that I've printed of an image, borderless. You'll notice that the borderless is on either side. Now this is 16-inch Epson premium luster paper in this printer, and I've printed this using Epson Print layout. Now just check what the settings were. Now I used this, I set roll paper, borderless auto expand. I've had to expand the basic image to fit onto the area. I've used the expansion option to show that grey border around the edge so I can make sure that the image has properly been expanded over the area. I've set a paper size of 16 by 20. Now that's just an arbitrary size. It's supported by this, and I've got 16-inch roll paper in, which makes it easier to do. Now I've centered the image and I've expanded the image to go over the edge. Now it has cropped a bit, but I quite like this crop. It focuses a bit more on the ship itself. It's a trawler docking at Amble Harbour in Northumberland, unloading fish that they've just caught. Now I'm using my own printer profile for this, although the Epson one does work well. You do get Epson profiles for this. But anyway, there we are. I've set it to borderless, auto expand. It should print borderless. And indeed, it does print borderless, edge to edge. And that's the key thing to remember about this printer, is that it does not support full borderless on sheet paper at all. On sheet paper, all you'll get is borderless edge to edge at a certain number of sizes. Now, I'm going to do a print in a moment that will show you that with the cutter that's built in this, you can get proper borderless printing from roll paper. Needs a little bit of care in the settings, and unfortunately, this is an area where it really does help to read the manual. There's a PDF of it, there's a section on borderless printing, and it describes the various cut options that you've got very clearly. Now, I've got the same image here, but this time I'm going to print it from Photoshop, and I'm going to use some slightly different settings. Some settings which for some reason are in the Epson driver, but are not available if you try and print via Epson Print layout. I don't know why. I'll ask somebody at Epson why that is, whether there's a hidden option to enable it or something. But as it stands, if you use Epson Print layout, you end up with a border added at either end, which you'd need to trim off. There is borderless, I say, but only edge to edge. You'd get the same with this with sheet. But anyway, to this. I'm going from the normal Photoshop print settings here, I need to go to the print settings for the driver to have a look, and I've got some preset settings here, but the paper size 16 by 20 I've selected, borderless auto expand, exactly as it was printed with the one you saw just now. And if I were to print like this, then that's why I've got two prints there, both with a border at each end, because there is no cutting of the paper to trim it to the image. What you need to go to is that there is, under page layout settings, there is an option for double cut. Now, double cut means that the paper is trimmed and that the print will be trimmed by the cutter itself rather than you having to do it. So I've got this set up for double cut, 1620 Epson premium luster paper, just normal print dialog, but do check in your printer driver the page layout settings where they cover the cut. Now, ignore the fact that it says 17-inch grayed out on it. This is one of those bits you are quite likely to lose a sheet or two of paper when you're experimenting with it. If you're lucky, it'll work first time, but take careful note of all these settings. But anyway, if I save that, I can just press print. It's a slowish laptop. Maybe I'll get a new one day. So I'm going to wait a bit for it to actually process the data, send it to the printer, and for something to happen. So what I'm hoping to get is for the printer to actually trim the paper. Now, if you've got a roll paper printer like this, it's worth getting a decent quality roller cutter anyway. Makes it much easier printing arbitrary sizes, allows you to trim things as you need. Anyway, the fan's starting up, so this is a much noisier printer than the P900, P700. They are very much consumer printers. Somebody asked, why do you not have full borderless on sheet like this? It was never designed to have full borderless sheet printing. This doesn't handle small paper, for example. If you want to print borderless 6x4s, 7x5s, 10x8s, get yourself a P900 or even something like a Epson ET8550, an ink tank printer. Borderless printing on sheets is a consumer option, and you get it in consumer level printers. This is, in many respects, not a consumer level printer, so you won't get it. If you want it, get a different printer. Now, you can trim things, and as I say, hopefully this will show where that it works okay with borderless on roll paper. It's telling me 7 minutes to print. Now I'm printing this at the high quality setting. With Epson Premium Luster, there is no point in using the highest quality print settings, they just take longer. And also on this paper and a few other glossy papers, you will get bronzing at the higher levels of print quality, so just don't bother with it. Nobody's going to notice the difference anyway. Now, I can see that the head's gone back and there's a print going, so it's got some of it. Hopefully at some point we'll get a cut and I'll get a strip of paper off the end, because there is a border at the moment on this. It's printing edge to edge. Why only certain sizes? Well, there is the normal printer maintenance tank goes in here, but there is an additional maintenance tank, big wide maintenance tank that catches overspray for borderless printing. Now that only has certain specific sizes where it accepts where the ink goes in because of the vacuum system and everything. Essentially, if you want borderless, it has to be one of the set sizes. Now they're all the common sizes, so 17-inch, 16-inch, A2, A3 plus. Oh, there's a piece of paper. Now what I've got is a very thin strip of paper, and there is about 1 millimetre or so of print along this edge. So we've now got a print that's been trimmed off. So we now just have to wait for the print itself to come out and see what happens. And here comes the leading edge of the print, and as you can see, it's been cut cleanly. So we have 3 parts borderless. We just need the cut at the far end. This is where I check, because we must be getting pretty close to the end. There we go. The end of the print is being printed at the moment, so I should see what happens. There's the cut. And there is a 16-inch by 20-inch borderless print. The cut at the end here is not as clean as the one here. Might be a slight few pixels white on here. That, of course, could be due to my scaling of the image, but that is perfectly fine, if I'm being fair about it, as a borderless print. So there you go. That's how to do borderless printing on this. Can't do it with sheet. If you want a borderless print, you will be doing it with roll paper like this. There we go, let's pop that there. So, if you've got any questions on the printer, please do let me know. I've got it here for a while yet. I'm going to be doing, as I say, different aspects of printing with it, like this. I'll be looking at sheet, fine art printing, various other stuff as well. Black and white I'm going to have a look at as well. Quite a lot of stuff on black and white. But I hope that's of interest. Please do subscribe to the channel, it is appreciated. And well, there you go. You want it borderless? It's borderless. Thanks.